symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hi, this is Kevin Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer's Auction Company. Pfeiffer's upcoming December land and equipment auctions include 480 acres of cropland in Sargent County near Gwinner, 637 acres of cropland in Barnes County, 869 acres of crop and pasture land in Stutzman County, 458 acres of highly productive cropland in Ransom County near Sheldon, heavy-duty construction and equipment truck auction near Fargo, North Dakota. View these Pfeiffer auctions and many more land and equipment auctions at Pfeiffers.com.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
Oh, my God!
And
welcome very good.
Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. 1:06 in the afternoon. I want to thank you for joining us here on this Tuesday. Tuesday.
Don't worry, I mixed it up earlier too.
That's a short week for many.
Don't get overly excited. Tomorrow is going to be Ag Festivus.
Oh,
so
I'm already got grievances.
Forward. Well, you were part of farming this year. You legitimately might have some.
Well, I've got some farming, some non-farming.
Perfect. I've been getting lists from people. I'm keeping a short stack of the ones that I've gotten, and I can't wait to hear from more folks who are going to call in tomorrow to air their grievances, because I have a problem with some of you people.
I'm sure you do. We might just spend 15 minutes with Bridgette.
Wow.
We're going to talk about my travel, because then y'all are just going to get me back.
No, we've got quiet travel. You're fine going anywhere. In fact,
what's the weather there, Wysocki?
Well, we've got some pretty nice weather heading our way. In fact, we're looking at nothing but bluebird skies out there today. Temperatures right now 34 degrees here at the station. And winds are a little breezy out of the northwest. We'll warm up a few more degrees into the upper 30s with those northwest winds continuing on the breezy side, but starting to relax a little towards evening. Winds will go south overnight tonight, and we'll have lows in the mid-20s. Some spots will even see slowly rising temperatures towards morning. And then we'll see a mild day on Wednesday. It'll be breezy with winds switching from the west to the northwest late in the day as a cold front swings on through. Highs in the mid-40s and then back into the 20s, and pretty breezy for Thanksgiving and Friday. We're looking at pretty chilly conditions. Nothing too bad, but wind chills will probably be in the teens and pretty nice northwest wind.
Don't stand in the wind and it'll be fine.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Stay inside. But no big storms. No, the Dakotas, Minnesota, no big storms. Travel will be okay, but if you're heading down into the Rockies, maybe Denver, Wyoming, western parts of Nebraska, Kansas, they could see some accumulating snow, which might cause a little travel problems. But other than that, anywhere within the tri-state region,
we're going to be fine.
Looking good.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going anywhere.
That's
for Thanksgiving.
why. That's why.
Yeah, that's the reason.
There we go.
Everyone can thank Bridgette now.
Yeah.
I'm here to help, people. Here to help.
Oh, man. So Thanksgiving coming up pretty quickly. What do you guys have planned? Bridgette?
I am going to be hosting some folks at my place.
Nice.
So there's a turkey already thawing. I don't have the great culinary skills that Justin does, so I'm just going to have to wing it.
They're not that great.
Justin, what do you guys, everybody getting better in your household? You guys are like a petri dish over there.
Yes. Yeah, they're getting better.
Yeah, good. Good.
Slowly. It's been a long 10 days, I'll tell you that.
Relatives coming over, or are you guys going anywhere?
No plans.
No.
Probably swing over to the in-laws for lunch, but other than that, we don't have any plans.
Do you just get Lysol in bulk now that you all have been that sick? Do they just drop a tanker truck at your house to sanitize the place, or what does it look like?
Well, I'm not entirely sure. I just got that super immunity, so we're just dodging all these bugs.
Lucky you. Those must be the benefits of being a stellar weatherman. You get better super immunity.
I don't know. I don't know if it's that or if it's the old saying, a beer a day keeps the doctor away.
And guys, it wouldn't be a pre-Thanksgiving without a phone call from...
Oh?
Take a guess. Oh, because you know what today is. I keep forgetting.
Haven't noticed. I was going to talk about sweet potatoes and yams, so we don't have to do this.
John, it's Chemtrail Spray Tuesday, and it is totally clear outside. What's going on, John?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's totally clear. Not a chemtrail in sight that I can detect from the WAG weather tower.
So what's the deal? What about your pine nut forecast?
Yep. What's the scoop?
I have yet to get pine nuts back. There appears to be a global shortage of pine nuts. I think they're all trapped in the Panama Canal right now.
Right, due to those ships that can't get through there because of the low water levels. Got it.
Yeah, which
So,
mystifies me. You have an ocean on each side of the Panama Canal, correct?
The garden hose is plugged, John. They can't refill those locks that fast.
He makes a very good point, though.
Yeah, I'm waiting for somebody to blame it on global warming, and lowering sea levels, even though they told us a few years ago we were about to all get swept under the ocean.
Well, that's why they haven't said that global warming is the reason, John, because we'd be melting all the ice at the poles and the water levels would go up. So you can't say it's global warming, otherwise there'd be too much water in the canal.
That's it. I need a beer.
Just wear your life vest. It'll be fine.
Hey, man, that keeps the doctor away. First-hand experience.
There you go.
Well, I myself prefer 2 fingers of Drambuie straight up. That'll kill whatever bug is running amok us. Trust me.
That will, no doubt about it. John, thanks
so, John,
for calling.
What do you?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Justin. Sorry.
What's your analysis of no chemtrails up in the sky today? What's going on in your opinion?
It means everybody's going to have a great travel period here. Take advantage of it. Everybody have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And I'm going to do that 14.5-pound monster bird because I can never have enough leftovers.
That's true.
What time should we be over?
Where's the we in this equation, sir?
Right. You're on your own there, Wysocki.
Me and whoever else wants to come with.
Yeah. Well, in your case, that could be a small horde some days.
Yeah, right. Oh, John, you have yourself a great Thanksgiving as well. Thanks for calling.
Yep. Happy Thanksgiving, John.
You as well, gang. See ya.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
Okay, so if we're on the topic of Thanksgiving and dinner and so forth, okay, who's fans sweet potatoes and fans yam?
I'd rather do the sweet potato.
Sweet potatoes?
It's better for you.
Justin, what do you say?
It's not the same thing. Sweet potato's a yam. Yam's a sweet potato.
They are not. That's the whole point of this discussion. Okay, so yams are actually mostly found in West Africa and Asia, whereas sweet potatoes, they're part of the morning glory family. We grow them homegrown, you might say. So California, North Carolina, Mississippi, Louisiana. We recently had a guest on who talked about sweet potato production. That was Greg Flint down in Mississippi. I've grown them in my garden, so can be done. The sweet potatoes are grown from a sweet potato slip, and they also would be classified as as actually the root of the plant versus the yams are the tubers. And you said health-wise, Dean, they are very, very close. A cup,
are they really?
Yep.
I thought a sweet potato would be much more nutritious.
Nope. A cup cubed of sweet potato is 130 calories versus the yam is 155. And they are within a point of each other on grams of protein.
Wow.
Very similar in carbs. But we've been raising them for a long time. Most of us think that they're the same thing, but they actually are different.
But do yams come in? They're usually canned, are they not?
Probably most of the time. Yeah. And so what you see at the grocery store is likely a sweet potato that was grown in the U.S., but it gets called a yam and nobody cares and they cook them.
There you go.
I mean,
so basically the same thing here is what I'm picking up.
Once you put the brown sugar and the marshmallows on them, tell me how the difference lies.
There isn't really no.
Right.
No,
I mean, you've done everything you want to with it. So, and
I do like some good old sweet potatoes.
They are good. And those are different than a white potato. Again, that's the regular potato that we would have. They're considered the plant tuber, and those would be again very different than what we would do with a sweet potato or a yam. So, little fun facts as we get up to that Thanksgiving dinner table. Lots of things.
Speaking of Thanksgiving dinner tables, we got an ag topic from yesterday we didn't quite get to. We've got a few minutes to burn before we tease the rest of the show and who our guest is going to be. So why don't we just knock that one out of the park, get caught back up for the show? And Bridgette, what can you tell me about pumpkin facts for your pies?
So those pies, well, first of all, we've had a guest on talking about pumpkins. Anybody remember what state that was from?
Minnesota. He grew the biggest pumpkin.
That was the biggest pumpkin, but
This was out east somewhere, wasn't it?
it was further east. It
Yeah.
was pumpkin production.
Was it Ohio?
It was Illinois.
Illinois.
I can't
Okay.
believe you didn't get that, Dean.
I know.
Right. Okay. So pumpkins are grown in multiple states. Illinois has the most, California, Indiana, Michigan, Texas, and Virginia. When I say Illinois has the most, they harvested about 16,000 acres of pumpkins in 2021. You get a lot of vitamin C out of a pumpkin. We've talked about the largest one, Justin. That was a guest that you found who was just over in Minnesota, just right around the cities. And how big was that one? Was that 2,400 pounds of pumpkin that they raised?
Something like that. But his new one, he now holds the world record, and I think it was 2,700 some pounds.
It could be a lot of pie, except for the fact that most of the pumpkin pies all of us are going to consume here this week are actually a squash. They're a special sweet type of squash that gets made into pumpkin pie filling. So call it mislabeling.
Oh, wow.
But there are 45 different types of pumpkins. If you want to talk about the mini ones all the way to jack-o'-lanterns. Earlier on Bonnie and Friends, I was talking about those mini pumpkins that are a favorite of mine to raise, except the squirrels take them. They literally carried my mini pumpkins away. I have trouble discussing this without being like belligerent and sweary. So I'm going to have to stop talking about my theft of my mini pumpkins. It was tragic.
Oh, those things, we used to leave them out in our front porch. And
did your squirrels take them?
well, no, they just hollow them out for us. And then once they got everything out of the inside, then we just toss them after that.
My only retaliation was, hey, you idiot little furry thing. That's going to wind up in a tree, and over the winter months, it's just going to melt down to nothing. So you did all that work for nothing. So, haha, on you.
Well, they don't call them tree rats for nothing. So
No kidding. I was mad.
we got a special guest today, Bridget.
We do, and that's Kaitlyn Root, and she is the executive director of Minnesota State Cattlemen's Association. They have an upcoming convention here in December. So watch your travel. I'll be going to that one.
Well, then we'll cross that weekend off for not being able to drive anywhere.
When was that?
Mid-December. So are you checking the LRC?
Nobody's writing it down.
December. I'm writing it down right now. I'll check during our break for you.
Okay, so look for somewhere around the 14th, 15th, 16th in there, and we're definitely gonna want to check that weather forecast for Kaitlyn. So we will do that when we come back and have her join us, and we'll talk about the upcoming convention and what in the world they're doing in Minnesota when it comes to cattle. Be right back.
Livestock complex is lower with hogs leading the way. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Risvet with this market update. Moderate to firm losses have developed today as trader interest remains extremely limited. Now, it appears that many traders have already checked out ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday, and this is allowing for limited buyer support to develop. Yesterday's price shifts have appeared to satisfy traders' expectations following last week's cattle on feed report, with limited overall short or long-term market direction being focused on until after the Thanksgiving holiday. Traders will continue to monitor outside market shifts as well as fundamental moves in beef values and cash markets, but even these factors are likely to give limited direction over the next few days. Even though firm losses have developed today, the light activity and limited volume could easily allow for moderate to wide price swings with very little notice or any apparent reason other than the limited activity levels. Cash cattle markets are remaining quiet today with bids and asking prices still unavailable. Now, it is still expected that both sides will desire to wrap up needed trade by Wednesday evening before the Thanksgiving holiday, but at this point, it could very well be tomorrow or even later any significant business is reported. Box beef prices are lower, choice down 24 and select down 15 with a movement of 67 loads. We'll get a look at the livestock numbers next. You're listening to the American Ag Network.
Every day, our brave military men and women, along with their families, make tremendous sacrifices for our freedom. Patriotic Hearts, a nonprofit organization, is dedicated to supporting these heroes and their families in their times of need. By donating your unwanted card to Patriotic Hearts, you'll be supporting job transition and job fair programs, veteran entrepreneurship, counseling, and retreats for combat veterans and their spouses. Call 800-560-3870. You'll receive a tax deduction, and we'll arrange a free pickup at your convenience. Imagine the difference you can make in the lives of those who have given so much for our country. Your card donation will directly impact military families, veterans, providing them with the support they desperately need. Call 800-560-3870. You can become a part of something bigger. Join us in our mission to uplift and honor our military community. Call 800-560-3870 to donate your unwanted card.
Get a look at the livestock numbers. Live cattle October down 30 at 175.17. February down 57 at 176.07. April down 40 at 178.32. And the June live cattle, they're down 30 at 174 even. Feeders, November down 73 at 228.64. January down 87 at 228.97. Lean hogs, December down 180 at 68.55. February down 262 at 72.42. And the April lean hogs, they're down 235 at 78.62. The Dow right now is down about 100 points. The dollar sits at 103.4, with crude oil trading down a couple of dimes at right around $77.50 a barrel. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Ristvet.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
Just when I thought I'd talk, all the sounders go off. Thank you, Dan. Okay.
We're here to please.
And we are pleasing people by teaming up with Legacy Plumbing, committed to spreading warmth and love to families in need this holiday season. So if you have someone in mind who could benefit from a new furnace, please go to our website, WDAYradionow.com, click on the Hot Links tab, and you can nominate a family now through December 15th, and they could get a little bit of help by a new furnace from Legacy Plumbing. So please do that. That winner needs to be in Cass or Clay County, but go right ahead and make those nominations happen today. And speaking of today, we have a guest with us, and that is Kaitlyn Root. And Kaitlyn is the Minnesota State Cattlemen Association's Executive Director. And Kaitlyn, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We're fabulous. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk about the State Cattlemen over in Minnesota. Tell us about your organization.
Yeah, so the State Cattlemen are here to defend cattle producers and advocate for cattle producers. This is both at the state level, at Minnesota's capital, and at the national level.
And when you talk about advocating, particular items that come to mind that you're working on currently?
Yeah, a few items that we are working on currently is drought. Minnesota did see a pretty severe drought once again this summer, so we're advocating for our producers to have drought relief programs during times like that. Deer depredation is top of mind right now in Minnesota. Our producers suffered a huge loss from deer depredation last year, and we feel that there's a management problem when it comes to the deer in Minnesota. Another topic would be nitrates and fish kills. This is becoming an increasingly bigger concern from the legislature in Minnesota, especially in southeastern Minnesota. So these are all kind of topics that we are keeping our eye on at the Minnesota Cattlemen's.
All right, that's just legislatively, but I've got a couple of questions in regards to those. So when you talk about drought relief, deer deprivation, are you heading out into joint ventures with Game and Fish, or how are you working with them, particularly about the deer deprivation? And then what are you looking forward to, or what are you talking about as far as points on the drought relief? Are you looking for financial packages, or what are some of the ways that you guys are working in assistance for your producers?
So when it comes to deer depredation, we have been meeting with the Minnesota DNR and the Minnesota Department of Ag, as well as other ag organizations. So it's kind of all of us coming together to find a solution to these problems. And then with drought, we're always advocating for relief programs. So that would be financial assistance for our producers. And when we discover any of those programs, we always let our producers know what's available, how to apply, things like that. One thing that we would like to work on is the U.S. Drought Monitor. We've been noticing that producers are being affected by drought, and it's not always accurately reflected on that drought monitor map, which is really important because for a producer to be eligible for drought relief programs, it kind of depends on how severe their drought is according to that map.
And what are the regulations on that? You said you wanted to work closer with the drought mitigation or the drought monitor. What would you like to be seen done that's not being done right now?
So we would just like a better program for right now. Producers have to be in drought level 2 for 8 consecutive weeks for these programs, or in drought level 3. So actually something that a Louisiana representative is working on right now at the national level is getting it so those D2 producers, they only have to be in that D2 level for 4 weeks to see a payment. That would really help, because sometimes these producers are saying, I know the drought map says I've only been in D2 for 6 weeks, but I've been feeling it for 8 weeks already. So it's things like that we can work on.
So
I got another one here on that. Sorry, Bridget, if I cut in here real quick.
Sure.
You were talking about the inaccuracies of that drought monitor map. Me and Dean are quite familiar with it. I'm sure, Bridget, you've seen where that drought monitor map is located at. I was wondering if you could expand a little bit more on what those inaccuracies are on that map that you're seeing. Is it a larger area that's just not being reported as quite as severe of a drought, or is it more localized and finer detail that map just doesn't incorporate for people who are trying to get accepted into this relief program?
Yeah, so that's definitely something that we're doing a lot of research on. We're finding it at these smaller levels where we understand that it can be hard to record, but not everyone in the same county is being affected the same. So someone 2 miles away from you could have gotten 2 inches of rain over the weekend and you got nothing. It's things like that where not all producers are being affected the same, even though the map is kind of showing that they're being affected the same.
Well, and that's a good point, because we had one of our farmers on locally, and one end of his farm, what was his yields?
It was variance.
Yeah, I mean, it went from, I think, from 15 bushels to 30. It was doubled on one end of the farm opposed to the other end.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that the one end of his farm had quite a bit more timely rain and the other end didn't. So that fits perfectly. But that's kind of hard to, I guess, pinpoint that much detail when they're putting out the drought monitor index.
So I have a question.
Well,
Oh, go ahead, Justin.
I was going to say, I guess that just goes to show one aspect of importance of sending in rain reports to either the National Weather Services, or they're branched up with NOAA, of course, and they are part of the group that does that. So if you have a bunch of people in one county that, regularly send in their rain amounts, you can get more of that detail to where less of the rainfall has occurred. And I'm guessing, is that something that you're trying to push, as more producers regularly measure how much rain is falling at their property or at several locations across their property?
Yeah, I do think it is really important that producers are measuring for themselves and reporting that data.
And Kaitlyn, I guess one way would be to, if you could get a program, and maybe you guys have done this, but get a program together with the farmers where they can, each farmer or each rancher can get a rain gauge and be certified by the National Weather Service, where they can report, hey, one end of my farm here, I only got 1/4 of an inch of rain, yet the other end of my farm, I got 3-4 inches of rain. I guess that might be one way to kind of ease the pain.
We can help with those rain gauges because we give them away regularly here. They are the really nice, approved by National Weather Service rain gauges from Productive Alternatives in Fergus Falls. But also then it begs the question, you have a number of farmers who have weather stations on their farm, and is that information certifiable, if you will, to prove rainfall in that area, and how big of an area does it have to cover?
Right.
My question for the two of you as meteorologists is, for those of us who maybe don't know, who does the D1 to D4 map for drought? Who creates that, monitors it, and updates it?
If I'm not mistaken, and I will have to go back and double check, I believe that's out of University of Nebraska in Lincoln. I believe they take care of that. Is that not correct, Kaitlyn?
I believe so as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's realistic then. If they're monitoring out of Nebraska, could that be helpful, having more accurate local weather from those of us who are in those counties, that type of thing. All right. And Kaitlyn's looking at us like, this was not a direction I expected to go, but here we are talking about weather, because we do. And we love to incorporate weather in anytime we can. So, Kaitlyn, I want to get back to some of these government situations that you're diving into, particularly nitrates and fish kills. Why do the cattlemen care about nitrates and fish kills?
So it all relates to our cattlemen and just egg producers in general using manure as fertilizer. So when they're spreading manure on their fields, a lot of our cattle producers are regulated by state and national levels, and the legislature is just becoming more increasingly concerned with fish kills. So sometimes when there are higher nitrate levels in water, that means less oxygen for fish. So you guys have probably seen in the winter, this is just a natural cause in the winter, but when the ice freezes over for a long period of time and those fish have less oxygen throughout the winter, sometimes when the ice melts, then you're going to see a lot of dead fish. So they're more concerned with nitrate levels in the water and how that is affecting the fish.
I can see where that makes a total sense. Okay. 1:30 in the afternoon. 1:30 in the afternoon. Gosh, talking on a radio program, really not my strong suit. So
That's not that important, man.
Kaitlyn, don't go anywhere. We have more questions for you after we come back. And for those who are listening and questions you may have, feel free to join us on the Red Wing Shoe phone line, 701-293-9000. And we'll continue with Kaitlyn from the Minnesota State Cattlemen's Association after this.
The Medicine Shop on University has moved south to the old Kmart parking lot in a brand new building where they now have a drive-up window and easy in and out access for parking. If you're looking for a new or more convenient pharmacy, the Medicine Shop makes it easy with one call to transfer prescriptions. And their 4 locations continue to provide delivery anywhere in Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, or Horace. Ask about the new free mobile app to refill your prescriptions. It's quick, easy, and convenient at the Medicine Shop in Fargo.
Good afternoon, I'm Tom Tucker, WDAY News First. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum is showing no signs of slowing down his efforts aimed at securing the Republican nomination for president, while offering a sharp critique of President Joe Biden on a range of issues.
And our national security is at risk. It's at risk at our own border. We've had the equivalent of 2 Iowas cross the border since Joe Biden took office. We've had 5 Vietnams worth of Americans die of overdose deaths since Joe Biden took office. We are taking mass casualties. We have a mass invasion. We're in a Cold War with China. We're in a proxy war with Russia and Iran.
Robert Harms, the chairman of the North Dakota Presidential Caucus Committee, says he expects Burgum to stay in the race at least through Super Tuesday. Meanwhile, a recent poll of North Dakota voters shows former President Donald Trump remains far ahead of Governor Burgum and all other challengers in the race for the Republican nomination. The number of RSV cases in Minnesota is rising. We're told many patients are suffering from similar symptoms of the flu or cold, but testing shows it's RSV. And officials at Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport say the Thanksgiving holiday could be their busiest travel season in 4 years. Tom Tucker, WDAY, and WDAYRadioNow.com.
Be thankful for the fantastic November deals like this at PetroServe USA. Old Trapper 10 ounce, $12.99. Cheez-Its, 89 cents. Giant sunflower seeds, 5 ounce, $1.39. Liquid ice, 16 ounce, $1.59. All blankets, $5 off. $5 off any Zippo lighter. Little trees, 89 cents. Stun guns, $5 off. Prime Guard windshield blue wash fluid, just $2.99. Prime Guard purple windshield fluid, $4.49. PetroServe USA. There's one near you.
PetroServe USA.
Do you have plans for the day after Thanksgiving? Laying around trying to sleep off those extra pounds that you put on from the day before? I have a better idea. Take a trip to Red Wing Shoes for Red Friday. Hi, Teresa here from the Fargo Red Wing Shoe Store. Whether you need a new pair of boots or do some Christmas shopping, Red Friday is the time to buy. At Red Wing Shoes, you can save 20% on your entire purchase. Red Friday, November 24th. Red Wing Shoes, 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Red Wing Shoes for ultimate durability.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wolf, president of Laney's. Do you wish you had more outlets in your home? Or maybe some new high-efficiency lighting fixtures? If so, you need to consider Laney's for all of your electrical needs. Our electricians are courteous, clean, and professional, and you can trust that they will get it done right the first time. So for peace of mind, call us today at 237-0543 or visit us on the web at laneysinc.com.
828 is just great.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. It's 1:34 on this afternoon, and if you want to join in our conversation here, feel free to do so on the Red Wing Shoes phone line. That's 701-293-9000. Emails to the program or weather or ag at flagfamily.com. Also live streaming over on Acres TV, Facebook, and YouTube Live. Our guest today is Kaitlyn Rutsch. She's the Executive Director of the Minnesota Cattlemen's Association, and we were kind of talking a little bit about what the association is trying to work or defend and advocate for cattle producers over in Minnesota. And Kaitlyn, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit of background about you, how you got to where you are in your history with the organization.
Yeah, so I grew up in Watkins, Minnesota, and I grew up crop farming. I then went to NDSU for ag communications, and I had a minor in animal science. Horns up.
I did. I was right there for you.
After I graduated, I actually moved out to Wyoming. I lived in Wyoming for a year, and I worked at the Wyoming Livestock Roundup newspaper. So while I was out there, I got to work with a lot of ranchers, specifically cattle ranchers. It's kind of where I got the passion for this. I started noticing just kind of that disconnect between consumers and producers, as well as a disconnect between our legislators. So it's something that I really wanted to work on. I moved back here in December and have been with the association since.
And Kaitlyn, you said a disconnect with our legislators. In what regards?
Well, we're noticing that not just legislators, but just people in general are more and more removed from the farm. So they don't even have a grandpa who was a farmer. Their parents aren't a farmer. They're not around farming. So it's really hard to understand agriculture and understand farming when it's not something that you grew up around. So I kind of see that as one of our jobs is educating these people who don't know a whole lot about ag and educating them on our guys and what they do for their jobs.
And one of the reasons you and I were talking, Kaitlyn, is because you have an upcoming convention here in December. Sounds like it's about to be your very first one. So tell us what we can expect to see happening and when.
Yeah, we're really excited. So this year's convention is December 15th through 16th, and it's at the Arrowwood Resort in Alexandria, Minnesota. And this year's theme is actually creating a dynasty, leaving a legacy. So we're gearing this year's convention towards what our producers are doing every day. They're providing for a future. So all of our speakers are kind of geared towards that thought. Friday and Saturday, we have a lot of educational speakers. And then Friday night, we've got our Best of Beef banquet. And that includes a live and silent auction, as well as a comedian is coming in. And it'll just be a really fun night with really good entertainment. And then Saturday morning, we've got our breakfast panel. And then we close out the day Saturday with our quarterly and annual meeting.
So as you've been planning this, what were the things that you thought of and said, I really want to emphasize? Because you mentioned you have a theme about leaving a legacy, et cetera. And so in your mind, as someone who's slightly new to the livestock industry, what are some of those legacies you want people to make sure that they pick up on and those tips and information they get while at your convention?
So one thing I really wanted to offer the tools for producers to be successful. So as you'll see, we have a couple speakers coming in from Hurley and Associates. They're going to be talking about livestock risk protection, hedging, things like that, ways to market your cattle with a business mindset. Another thing is, if we're going to be leaving this to future generations, we need to be thinking of how we're being stewards to the land. So that's our breakfast briefing and the breakfast panel Saturday morning are really geared towards creating a cover crop system that can also be grazed and economically managing our feed and our herd. So I think those two things are really important, and you'll see it a lot throughout our convention.
Boy, and as I look at some of your speakers, I mean, you've got folks who are coming in from National Cattlemen's Beef Association to talk about beef quality audits and those types of things. So when it comes to your affiliation with NCBA, how direct is that? Kind of how does that work for your connection from Minnesota up to the National Cattlemen's Association?
So the State Cattlemen's, we are a affiliate association of the NCBA. That's the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. So we are here we can actually help provide policy for NCBA. So a couple times a year, all of us states meet and we bring forward our policy, and it can be adopted to national books. So actually, you could see some policy from the Minnesota State Cattlemen's Association that then gets adopted by the National Cattlemen's. They also help us out a lot with any needs that we have as far as like designing, advertising, communications needs. And then when we are facing big issues in our state, they're there to help us and assist us.
There's a lot of good background that comes out of that organization. So let's work through your convention. What are the dates? You mentioned it's in Alexandria at Arrowwood Resort. How can people sign up and be a part of it? And what would you, if I was new, and I am actually, this will be the first year I'll be at the Minnesota Cattlemen's Convention, what are some of the things you would recommend as a first timer that I make sure to take part in?
So you can actually just go to our website if you'd like to register. That's mnsca.org. You can pre-register there. There's also information for how to book your hotel. If you aren't able to register beforehand, totally okay. You can just walk in day of and register. The prices will just be up a little bit day of. And if you are new and this is your first convention, I would just really recommend making the most of it and trying to talk with everyone that you can. Networking is so huge in this industry, and we have so many really successful producers that will be at convention that would love to talk with you. So don't be afraid. Just walk up to anyone and start talking.
Well, one of your members out of Minnesota is most recent past president Don Schiefelbein from Southern Minnesota. So there's a networking connection right there, getting a hold of the past president at your convention.
Yeah, and actually Mike Landite, he's a producer from Southern Minnesota as well. He's actually NCBA's Region 3 vice president, and he's a past president of the Cattlemen's Association of Minnesota. So we have a lot of really influential producers, and they're always willing to help out and extend a hand to these younger guys.
Well, and you're also extending a hand up to the national organization with things like the Rancher Resiliency Grant, also helping folks find other ways for discounts and so forth to get to the National Cattlemen's Convention, which is called CattleCon 24. That'll be in Orlando at the end of January. So hopefully you and many of your producers are going to be headed for that too, Kaitlyn.
Yes, me and our president, Jake Thompson, we are already signed up, and we'll probably bring in a couple other with us. We're really excited.
So having come into this from, like you said, a grain farming background, working into cattle, what surprised you? Were you shocked at the amount of legislative work you were doing, or was it something different that took you by surprise?
I think it is a little bit shocking at the challenges that these cattle producers are facing. I do think it can be a little difficult sometimes and almost feel like you're under constant attack. I know that is sometimes how our cattle producers are feeling. So I would say that was a little shocking to me. But at the same time, we have such a positive, bright future that even on those hard days, when you do feel like things aren't going the best legislatively, there's so much hope. And I really just see a bright future. So it keeps it very exciting.
Well, that's awesome. And the work that you do, how often do you coincide with other commodity groups such as pork producers, or you have a very large turkey federation in Minnesota, et cetera? Do you guys cross paths very often? Maybe I should say cross pastures.
We actually do. Yeah. I think Minnesota is a leading state in that, where our organizations meet up a lot. We actually have a group called the Farm and Food Table. So the Cattlemen's, Minnesota Soybeans, Minnesota Corn Growers, Farm Bureau, Turkey, us ag leaders actually meet a few times a year, and we discuss what's going on within our internal organizations and then kind of align priorities and how we can work on these priorities together. And I think when you are going through difficult times in agriculture, it's so important that all of the ag leaders are working together.
So you're kind of new in the industry, like you said, recent NDSU graduate, et cetera. And by saying that, what values do you see being a part of those organizations? Because often I will hear young folks who are just getting the opportunity to get going in their farming career and saying, I don't have the time, and I don't know that something like a soybean growers or a cattlemen's association is going to provide me with a lot of benefit to my operation. What would be your counter to that?
Yeah, I think sometimes that is a concerning thought when we look around at the age of producers that are involved with these organizations. I would love to see more young folks get involved. And I would say if we're not here defending you, no one is. So you need to have someone there advocating for you. I can't express how important it is that we are here for you. And you're busy on your farm, you're working hard. You don't have time to be at the Capitol. You don't have time to be talking with legislators. That's what we're here to do. And it's just so important that you are involved with these organizations so that you have a strong future for your operation.
Well, and they can reach out right to you directly, call you from the tractor cab, you might say, right?
Exactly. They sure can.
All right. So, Kaitlyn, you've got just a little time here left in this segment, but tell us, if people want to attend convention, run through how they do that, and also what it would take to become a member in Minnesota of the Minnesota State Cattlemen's organization.
So if you would like to become a member, you can either go to mnsca.org and become a member right there online, or you can always give our office a call, 763-479-1011. I'd love to talk to you about membership. We also have a Facebook page, so the Minnesota State Cattlemen's Association. You can find us on there and keep up to date on our Facebook. And to register, all you have to do is go to our website and click on the convention tab.
So when you say the office, so you got a nice shiny spot picked out at the state capitol in St. Paul for Minnesota?
So actually, we kind of have a unique deal. I work for the Minnesota Beef Council as well. I'm the Beef Quality Assurance Coordinator. So the Cattlemen's and the Beef Council, we actually share an office. You might have seen it in Maple Plain on Highway 12. It has the big "Beef, it's what's for dinner" sign. So that is where the Cattlemen's actually are working out of.
What Kaitlyn emulates is the fact that if you're in ag, you never have one job. You got like three.
Right.
And she's doing them all.
No kidding.
All right, Kaitlyn, we want to say thank you for joining us today to talk about your upcoming convention. We greatly appreciate that. Folks, don't go anywhere. We want to make sure you are here for one more hit on the weather so we get a chance to see what our upcoming Thanksgiving weekend is going to look like. And write this down. Mark Wagner at North Dakota Estate Services says it is his job to take a complicated process and make it simple for you. He will educate your family on things such as how to avoid probate, protect from guardianship, save you on taxes, and really have that peace of mind. So visit ndestateservices.com or call Mark directly at 701-318-0908, and he will help you out. Don't forget to do that, and then we'll be right back.
To all the generous supporters of the Perry Center, your presence at our annual fall fundraiser made an incredible difference. We not only met but exceeded our goal thanks to your generosity. Your contributions help provide a loving home for expectant moms and their babies at the Perry Center. For those who couldn't attend, you can still be a part of our mission. Visit perrycenter.org. That's perrycenter.org. The Perry Center, a loving home for expectant moms. Thank you.
With Jiffy Lube Multicare, it's our job to make car care make sense. With personalized service reviews that swap the car talk for straight talk, so you know what your car is telling you and what to do about it. Where highly trained service technicians have your back, helping you take care of the small stuff before it becomes big stuff. Plus a full range of services from Pennzoil oil changes to tires, brakes, batteries, and more. We've got what your car needs, so you're ready for whatever's next. Putting you in the driver's seat of car care, that's a job for Jiffy.
Jiffy Lube, 1780 South Columbia Road, Grand Forks.
Attention service technicians. Border Plains Equipment certified Case IH and New Holland dealers in Stanley and Williston, North Dakota are looking for top-notch individuals to join their team and perform quality maintenance and repairs on all types of agricultural equipment. Border Plains Equipment is a value-led, 100% employee-owned company offering competitive wages, benefits, and job training. If you're ready to work in a great environment with great people, apply at plainsag.com. Border Plains Equipment Inc., proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Get ready for a heartwarming experience with Legacy Plumbing and Heating. At Legacy, our mission is simple: to provide the best plumbing and heating experience in town, while also being dedicated to serving our community.
You can make a difference today by nominating a family in need for a brand new furnace thanks to Legacy Plumbing and Heating with the Warm Heart, Warm Home Initiative. Visit WDAYradionow.com today and nominate someone in need.
Remember, life flows better with Legacy. Join us in spreading warmth and love this season of giving.
You feel the chill in the air. You hate thinking about being cooped up with nothing to do. Sweet Shots in Fargo wants you to experience their heated bays and top tracer golf games. The temp is just right in their lounge, where the game's always on and beer is always flowing. In the kitchen, they're cooking a full chef-inspired menu featuring award-nominated burgers. Their turkey sandwich is the best in town, and the house nachos have people asking for more. So put your jacket on, or not, and feel the sizzle at Sweet Shots in Fargo.
Shop Black Friday every day and get the best new deals all month long, only at Lowe's. Right now, shop the lowest prices of the year on select major appliances and save an extra $100 for every $800 you spend on select major appliances. And get up to 45% off select tools and accessories, because Lowe's knows deals. Valid through 11/15 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
This year, Staples wants everyone to have a happy Holla Deal. That's right, Holla Deal. Staples Holla Deals are amazing savings on hot holiday tech. Great prices on laptops, game systems, earbuds, and more. And now at Staples, you can save up to $350 on select PCs. During Staples Holla Deals, it's not about the fa-la-la. It's about saving moo-la-la. Save up to $350 on select PCs today at Staples. Ends 11/18, in-store only. See associate for details.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
How dare you!
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus.
I figured you weren't going to talk, just push buttons up until the 2 o'clock hour.
I was going to see how many more he was going to do.
What do we got? Let's see.
Got him!
There, all right.
got us.
Oh, it feels like Friday, but it's not. It's only Tuesday, but this is Friday Eve for many.
So Thursday?
This would be technically Thursday for most people. Some of us have
What about us? Is it a Thursday for us?
For you and Bridgette.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's almost a Thursday for us.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Dean.
Some of us have to work over the holiday.
Yeah, I could do the weather, but you realize my weather forecast is going to be a lot different than yours.
I
think you do just fine.
Here's my example. Oh, it's 5:30 in the morning. Still dark out. No idea what the weather's going to do. Wear a jacket. Bye.
That's safe.
Oh, see?
Right.
I'm not wrong.
Well, no.
Okay, there it is.
Justin, you want to recap the weather for everybody?
Yeah, we can do that here. What we're looking at for the rest of the day is pretty nice conditions. Lots of sunshine out there. Upper 30s for highs. We're already at 37. It'll be a little breezy, but the winds will start lightening up throughout the rest of the day. Out of the northwest, around 10 to 25 miles an hour. They pull out of the south light tonight, mainly clear down to lows in the mid-20s, and we're back into the mid to upper 40s for Wednesday. A little more cloud cover tomorrow. And we'll have winds switching out of the north in the later portion of our afternoon. It will turn breezy by the evening with 10 to 25 mile per hour winds out of the north, gusting a little stronger than that. And that leads into a breezy and cool day for Thanksgiving. We're only in the mid to upper 20s with wind chills likely in the teens. But then we bounce back to the low 30s over the upcoming weekend. So, it's close to where we should be. We should be ending November here in the low 30s. We're looking at average highs today near 35. So if we're in the low 30s, that's not too bad to round out Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh my God!
That was appropriate.
You did a pretty good job there, Dean. I like that.
Not bad. See,
Little side hustle as a sounder guy.
Side hustle as a sounder guy.
Yeah, no real big storms on the horizon from what I see right now to round out the month. A couple minor events here or there. We'll get one coming in overnight Saturday into Sunday, a few light snow showers or a few flurries. I don't really see much, if any, accumulation out of that. And another slight chance Monday night into Tuesday, and that looks pretty slim at best as well. So it's a pretty dry 7 to 10 day forecast out there, and I think most people don't mind that.
I would say you're probably right there.
Thing that worries me.
I mean, I mind it.
The thing that worries me is as dry as this month has been. Keep in mind, this is part of the LRC cycle, and this is going to cycle back through the spring and summer. And I don't like the dryness to this. We'll call it second half of the first cycle. It's just been, man, I don't know.
So what you're saying
I'm not
is
liking it.
You might want to start thinking closely about that drought monitor for next year.
Yeah, and we'll dive more into this with Gary in 2 weeks from today. Mark your calendar, December 5th, 2 p.m. on the Jay Thomas Show. What's this going to mean? Not only for winter. I mean, it's called a winter weather outlook, and we will dive into winter. But what does this mean for our ag community for next spring and for next summer?
Right.
These are very dry conditions, and now part of this will also be, does El Nino remain as strong?
You're telling me El Nino doesn't count.
It's part of the equation.
Okay.
Now, if that totally goes away, then things will break down a little bit. We can still, give you an idea of where these rain events will be, but with this big ridge that's just persistent on the west part of the continent, occasionally that breaks down, and part of that is
which continent?
Ours.
The Wysocki land.
Yeah, with the weakening El Nino, that ridge should start to diminish as well. So we'll see what happens come summer and spring.
Well, okay. Everybody's crystal ball. Ours is better than most. How's that sound?
I like that.
Magic 8 balls in the office.
Right. I'll go shake that thing later. But curious to see what that full cycle looks like once it's set, because you're right. Would it be nice not to move a lot of snow this winter? It is, unless you're in the snow removal business.
Mm-hmm.
But how does that affect us come spring? Because we really, when you think about this past year, we had a lot of snow and we didn't have a lot of runoff. We didn't see overland flooding, et cetera. Think how much of that went into our soil profile when and if possible. We'll see what that does.
Yeah, it's you don't want to sound the panic button yet, but just not liking the looks of it.
There is a little optimism to this because, we have had a couple, two of the bigger storm systems that passed through in October went to our south. One basically completely missed us, and the other one clipped us. Spring and summer, weakening jet stream, especially if you can break down that ridge on the west coast.
That's the problem.
Theoretically, those storms would lift further north, but it's just going to require further analysis and observations before our weather special on December 5th. So just make sure you stay tuned for that.
Okay, so here's something that could maybe help. University of Texas at Austin is working on self-watering soil.
What?
Not your potting soil. This is actually a gel that would be a super moisture absorbent that gets incorporated into the soil. It absorbs moisture from air at night, and then when the sunlight hits it, it releases the moisture during the day.
Wow.
So that literally could hold water until the sun comes out and it's needed and releases it to the plants. The only concern I have with that, so it's got to be in the soil. If it's incorporated into the soil versus lying on top, how much sunlight is it going to get so that it can release it? And then the second thing is, if you're in areas like Texas where it gets so blasted hot during the day, those plants tend to shut down and aren't taking anything in, definitely through their leaves. So if it's in the soil, could it still be coming up through root uptake? Yes. But again, if it's incorporated in the soil, how much sunlight is it getting to release? So I have questions. I don't know that anybody from the University of Texas is going to call me to answer all those yet. This is all still something that they are working on, but we'll see what they say. Right? Might be worth our time.
There you go. And
I
think we got one more that we can maybe squeeze in here is defining the cost of production. Is this something we can cover here in 40 seconds, Bridgette?
It's pretty much what you and I and Dean had to do when we were Here We Growing this year. And knowing what it costs for us to raise our crop, you got to take some things into account. First of all, making sure we understand what our price or what our costs were once we take out all of our expenses. That final cost, that's pretty important. The line item expenses per bushel, we had to go through that, because let's say if we were raising corn and our cost was $5.25 a bushel, you take a market price of $5.65. After you've accounted for all your expenses, paid yourself, your home costs, etc., that's a 7.5% margin to tuck away. If we didn't know that, we would not be able to make good decisions going into next year for inputs and what we wanted to plant. So cost of production, vital to know on a per acre basis. All right, that wraps it up. We are headed to the top of the hour. Jay Thomas will be coming up next. Stay tuned.